Good Monday afternoon. I'm Mike Naso here on the Tropical Update page with the latest on the tropics. Tropical Storm Henri, it made landfall near Westerly, Rhode Island yesterday as a mid to high-end tropical storm. It's not moved a whole lot, still sitting there north of Long Island over areas of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, dumping heavy amounts of rainfall. The impact of Henri was a little less than some people thought, including myself. The wind shear that really kept it from strengthening Friday night through Saturday, it could have become a much more powerful hurricane than it did, and then even though it weakened, it would have still been a hurricane and the impact would have been more. Nevertheless, you're still seeing a lot of impact. You can see the tail end of it here off the southeast coast, a lot of heavy rainfall and thunderstorms over the areas there of the western Atlantic Ocean. Watch, sometimes we get stuff developing on the edge of departing storms, but I don't think anything will happen with that. Here's the latest from the Hurricane Center. You can see what's left of Henri up here. We have two areas of interest, both 30% probabilities for formation right now. The first is an Invest. This is actually Invest 97L, and is forecast to pretty much remain out at sea, but it might not even do much until it's closer to Bermuda, and then will in all likelihood move out, but again, after Henri, who knows. And then we have another feature, which is probably going to become an Invest. It's a heavily sheared tropical wave, but the computer models show that this could do something in the Western Caribbean or the Bay of Campeche. We'll talk about both these features. Here's the radar out of Boston, and you can see this heavy rain still across Long Island, Fire Island, Jones Beach. You guys are starting to dry out finally, but it's all headed here towards Montauk and areas of Rhode Island. And you can see as this band pools around, that rainfall is going to impact areas here of Rhode Island and Massachusetts, including areas like Boston and Cape Cod, as well as Nantucket. The excessive rainfall outlook over the next 24 hours, obviously the highest anywhere in the country, right here where Henri's remnants are still sitting. And that's been the big threat with this. This area is not accustomed to storm surge like an area like Florida is, for example. So whenever you have heavy rainfall or water rises, you have a lot of flood threats. You can see over the next 24 hours, we should see the rain start to decrease in its intensity a little. Still 1, 2, 4 inches in areas here, especially over Connecticut and Rhode Island, right there where we have Henri's remnants sitting. Power outages, not as bad right now, but still in Rhode Island, you guys got it the worst. Over 30,000 people without power in areas of Washington County, right on the coastline there with Block Island as well. And then further north in Kent County, you're talking over 6,000 people without power. I'm sure they're working really hard to get those lines back up and running. Here's the Invest area I spoke of, getting away from Henri, and this should eventually move on like that and then turn. But again, you never know when these ridges build back in and we get something more to the west. That's why we're going to watch it, even though the likelihood of this getting anywhere near land is very, very small at this time. There's the visible satellite imagery off Africa. This is our Invest area. Rather large and elongated right now. It's kind of got that skeleton-like appearance on the western side, maybe some dry air, not very favorable looking. This feature that just moved off Africa has some good low-level convergence going on and some upper-level divergence, thunderstorms building, and I'd be a little bit concerned about this one. This is a little bit more below the radar. It's nothing there yet, but we'll watch as it moves west probably. As this system pulls to the northwest, we'll see this one drag behind it and see if this one becomes an Invest over the next few days. In the, actually, there's a water vapor imagery. You could see this is another wave we're watching right here very carefully. And this one is getting sheared. You could see this trough here shearing anything like crazy over the Caribbean Sea. You can see that even better here on this shear tendency map. Very high wind shear in the Caribbean, but it's low out near Africa with our waves, and it's low near the Gulf Coast. However, in between, they got to make it through this shear zone. This could get a little more favorable in the next few days, but right now, it is shearing this tropical wave apart in the Caribbean. This is a feature the Hurricane Center is watching because it is mid to late August. As this moves towards the west-northwest and gets into a more favorable environment over those very warm waters, we could potentially see formation. This is the Canadian model, and you can see it does take our wave there in the Caribbean up over the Yucatan like Grace, and then as a more powerful storm hitting northern Mexico, a little bit to the north of where Grace came in, but that would be a problem. You could see another system out here moving along in the middle of the Atlantic. That could be from our wave. So the Canadian model's on board. You can see it takes that system out, and after that shows more features approaching the islands as weak waves. This is the GFS model, and watch what it does with our wave here. It takes our wave right on up, makes it a tropical storm over the Yucatan, then a hurricane, it looks like, into Mexico, and then a second system develops behind it and becomes a strong hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico around the 6th of September or so. And so that's the GFS, and then of course we have our ensemble models, which generally give us some indication of what we could expect. Look at that. In the Western Gulf, a lot of members here showing that we're going to have a storm or a hurricane sometime around the last days of August in the Western Gulf of Mexico, and then after that, a lot of storms developing here off Africa that could be a problem down the road. So, if you are in the Gulf Coast areas of Louisiana down to the north coast of Mexico, watch this carefully. If you are anywhere in the Atlantic, watch as hurricane season heats up, because I think things are going to get more active, especially after our major hurricane Grace and the impact from Henri. Speaking of Grace, Grace moved across Mexico. It was a monster Category 3 hurricane, the first major hurricane of the year. Of course, a major hurricane is Category 3, 4, or 5. Grace dissipated over Mexico, but what was left of it came back into Tropical Storm Marty. And Marty is at 20.5 north, 112.4 west. Marty has winds of 40, moving west at 15. It's going to move west and dissipate, so we shouldn't have Marty become a hurricane. There you could see it there. Again, a lot of heavy rain over Mexico, moving away now from the Baja, so hopefully weather's improving for anybody down there as Marty moves away. Marty was once Grace, so we had a little bit of a change over there as it crossed Mexico. That'll do it for the tropics. We're going to continue to watch everything. Of course, Henri still affecting areas of New England, and we'll watch those tropical waves in the Atlantic as hurricane season 2021 goes on. I'm Mike Naso, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Please like and subscribe and share these videos to your heart's content.